Hi, I'm Jessica Aiken, part of our growth team here at UpGuard. A question for you. What do the data breaches at AT&T, Santander Bank, and Ticketmaster all have in common? They were all caused by Infostealer malware. Today, I'm going to share some recommendations on how you can avoid a similar breach. The data in this set of breaches was accessed on the data cloud platform Snowflake. Each of the victims were compromised because credentials belonging to their employees or IT contractors were stolen by malware on their computers. Whereas last year's mass breaches of the MoveIt product were caused by vulnerabilities in the MoveIt software. The breaches of data stored in Snowflake were not caused by a Snowflake vulnerability. Rather, the root cause was that the users at all of the victims had credentials stolen separately by this widespread and damaging attack method. Infostealer malware infects a device and then collects information from the user as they go about their browsing activity. Specifically, it aims to collect usernames and credentials, the info it is stealing, as the victims are logging into web services like online banking, email, and corporate infrastructure. The malware transmits the collected data back to the malicious actor, who then sells it to other hackers who specialize in escalating from initial access to data exfiltration. Infostealers can provide high value credentials to attackers when the victims are logging into corporate services, especially when they are not protected with multi factor authentication, as the attacks on Snowflake users demonstrated. Given the massive impact that infostealer infections can have, how can organizations defend themselves? First, multi factor authentication is a must. In the wake of Snowflake breaches, many commentators have pointed out that Snowflake could have made it harder for attackers to abuse their customers' stolen credentials by requiring multi factor authentication. Ensuring that any services your company uses has multi factor authentication enabled will greatly reduce your exposure in the event of stolen credentials or other password attacks. Second, you should have a threat intelligence feed that alerts you when your employees' data has been stolen by an info stealer. Even if your organization has antivirus software installed on corporate devices, credentials can still be collected if an employee uses them while logging in through a personal computer or a mobile device that has been infected. Devices used by IT contractors may not be under your management at all. Preventative controls like antivirus are certainly good, but because of the many ways credentials can be stolen, you should also have a detective control. InfoStealer alerts are already included with many UpGuard plans as part of identity breach monitoring and easy to enable as an add on. If you do learn that corporate credentials have been harvested by an InfoStealer, you want to resolve this issue by rotating the credentials and investigating the account for unusual activity. To prevent it from recurring, you should ensure that the user's device is free of malware and educate them about the dangers of using corporate credentials on personal devices. Third, you want to ensure your vendors have the same controls in place. UpGuard offers questionnaires for NIST, SIG, ISO, and many more compliance frameworks that ask for evidence of the same. Vendors should have access control policies that inform multi factor authentication, and they should have threat management programs that can detect credentials being sold in illicit forums. While devices being used by IT contractors are outside your management, you can still drive them towards the necessary controls during the third party risk assessment process. The reality of InfoStealer is daunting. In our research, we have seen that almost all enterprises have some level of exposure, often due to contractors whose devices are outside of corporate IT governance, and more credentials are collected and sold each day. At the same time, the available solutions are accessible to companies of all sizes. Multi factor authentication is well understood and widely supported. It just needs to be enforced. And while a full fledged threat intel team may require more resources than you have, an InfoStealer monitoring feed is easy to implement and provides high value alerts. InfoStealer malware is a real threat, and one that is especially dangerous in its ability to gain access through third party suppliers. But with these steps, you can greatly reduce the risk to your organization.